Here comes pressure, and the ball comes out in a hurry, and it's Marvin Jones. He gets the first down, and a big play for the Lions, getting inside the Cardinal 20-yard line. Teams, when they're backed up, find a way, and when you have a Matthew Stafford running the show, you can do it. This will be a 39-yard field goal attempt, and the kick.
Good. Don't ask me how, but the Lions found water in the desert somehow and got by Kyler Murray and the Cardinals as we bring in the king himself, Dennis Fithian. Welcome into Football Friday, a joint task force. Good afternoon production. D-Fith, we both did give them a ton of chance to do it, but they found a way. And is it that Godfather moment where you thought you were out and they pull you back in?
Well, you know what? You start the season with all the ideas that they might be able to be a between 7-9 and 9-7 football team, and then you have your rookie running back dropping the ball, and it's like, man, you feel like that's going to come back and haunt you. And then nobody thought they were going to win in Green Bay, but to get dismantled like they did, and suddenly it's like your focus shifts from playoffs to let's get rid of everybody, let's lose every game, let's get into the sweepstakes for these quarterbacks, and then they come out and find a way to win out there in the desert. And the way Kyler Murray was playing, and the way the Lions defense had shown up in the first two games, they didn't. It was really surprising to see how well they played, especially Duron Harmon and Jamie Collins. Got to give them credit. I don't know where it was the first two games, but it really helped having Kenny Golladay back as well. Hey, big surprise. You get a big weapon and a difference maker. It can really help out your offense, and it helped Matt Stafford. That was huge for him. And you know what? They played a complete game, which we didn't see in the first 2 weeks. And, now they put themselves in a position where they can climb right back into things on Sunday. And I'm just going to tell you the little spoiler here.
Spoiler!
It's a spoiler. With this injury report, I'm switching where I was all week long. Yeah.
Now, by the way, the Lions finally break that curse in Arizona in several games. They lost 11 in a row. I don't know if you felt the same way. I thought it might have taken 5 Kyler Murray interceptions. We had 3, but it was like the Lions kept getting let back in. And in last year, we know they would have found a way to blow the other team, giving them a chance back in. They didn't. And let's move right into it now. Let's move into the game this weekend. Because I'll tell you, Finn, Michael Thomas out, Jared Cook out, a bunch of other guys out from the Saints. It's in Detroit. New Orleans just had a tough loss at home against the Packers on Sunday Night Football. I think we both had the Saints last week. So I was wrong on that one. But I'll tell you this. I've been reading a lot about this, as I know you have. I've been looking into some of the analytics. The Lions, not just betting-wise, plus it's now down to 3.5. It was 4. But I think with all the different trends, the Lions, on top of the injuries, are the play this week. And they could be 2-2.
Yeah, well, how many guys have to go out before you think about picking the Lions? That's what it's come down to for me.
Right.
Like, I thought Michael Thomas was going to play in this game, in the news today that he's not going to play. That has me doubting the Saints without, his security blanket out there. It's not like Drew Brees has been lighting it up with, the lowest amount of air yards. He's just like check down Charlie now. And it's no big deal. Look, he's 41 years old. So at some point, he wasn't going to be the great Drew Brees. He was going to come down to earth a little bit, and he has. And without Michael Thomas, that's a big thing. But you look over the other side of the ball, both corners. Jack Rabbit's out, Janoris Jenkins, Marshawn Lattimore's not going to be there. Ask the Lions how big of a deal that is. It is a big deal. And I know, so you got to have Alvin Kamara out and Drew Brees before you pick the Lions. They've given up 35.5 points the last 2 games as well, talking about the Saints. This defense has not been playing well. Davenport hasn't been able to get any pressure. Even Cam Jordan, the great Jordan's not been up to snuff here. All things with the injuries now here point to the Lions being able to stay in this game and I think make some plays in the fourth quarter. Originally, I thought the Saints were going to win a shootout, but the corners not being there, Thomas not being there, the Lions getting a little healthier in this one. I flipped all week long. I was thinking Saints. And now after seeing the injury report, matching everything up and thinking about it, it's always hard to do, but I am going to pick the Detroit Lions, and I think they're going to win it 35-30. Reversing what I said 2 days ago.
Hey, Fifth, I was on the Saints all week long, too. I thought it'd be a tight game. I thought the Lions would have a chance. Remember, 2 weeks ago, I said the Lions sucked, and that, for me, that's, like Luke Skywalker turning to the dark side. But I always thought there was talent, and you brought up a great point. When you got Hotel Motel Galladay, one of the top 7 receivers in football, arguably, back in your lineup, you got Adrian Peterson rushing for almost 65 yards in the first half. I know he didn't do much in the second half. When you've got offensive weapons with Matt Stafford and a defense, as you characterized perfectly, playing better than they had, playing over their heads because they'd been garbage, you're going to be in a lot of games. That's why I thought Kyler Murray, as good as he could be, second-year guy, laid 6 points. It was too many. I thought that would be a close game as well. But now, as you've talked about the injuries, the best receiver in football out, all these different pieces, it tells me that the Lions have a chance once again to find a way to reclaim their season, maybe save their coach's job, and show they're actually a decent team. I think the Lions get it done too as well. I think they're going to win this game 31-28.
I hate the part about the Saints. Like both teams, I would feel better about it if the Saints were 2-1, not 1-2.
Right.
Thinking about Sean Payton losing 3 games and the Saints being out of it, this quickly into the season is something that makes me a little gun shy. Picking Matt Patricia over Sean Payton also in the chess match makes me a little gun shy when it comes down to that. But just looking at the personnel, just looking at how the teams have been playing here, the Lions getting some defense last week and getting healthier here. That's what's done it for me. And sometimes it's against your better judgment, but are you going to go with what you really feel when you look at the matchups, or you're just always just going to say, yeah, the Lions suck, let's just pick the other team? It's easy.
Yeah.
It's easy to pick the Saints in this one. But picking the Lions, I'm staying with it here. I'll probably be out here next week, crying about it, but that's what you do. You gotta make a pick.
It's part of our life. Let me throw this out there and see how you'd answer this, and I'll do the same. The Lions win the game if whatever you want to say happens, the Lions win. What would that be for you?
I think if the Lions are able to keep the Saints under 30 points, I think they win the game. And with their defense, and the one thing the Saints have been giving up 35.5 points over the last 2 games. This is not just, Lattimore, I know he had a bad hammy, but sometimes he looks like he's an all-pro. Sometimes he looks like he should be off the field. It's a huge, this is not the Saints team of the last 2 years that's won 13 games. This is a Saints team that defense is getting racked up. Now they don't have their 2 starting quarters, and they don't have Michael Thomas. The Lions will win if they keep them under 30 points.
All right, for me, I'll say if Matt Stafford throws 3 or more touchdown passes, the Lions win. Because I think that the Saints defense has been better than people give. Well, people have seen the Saints defense cause some other offenses problems. It's the Saints offense that has had its problems. I think that the Lions have Matt Stafford throw 3 or more touchdown passes, they win the game. Fifth, I know last week we both went 1-2. We've gone 2-1 2 weeks in a row. Are you ready for some week 4 picks?
I'm ready.
All right, let's quickly, before we do that, thank our good friends at Thomas McGee's Eastern Market. No better place to watch football, whether you want to watch MMA, boxing, soccer. They've got outdoor patio setting, all the safe things you need in this COVID times. They're doing all the governor's requests for social distancing. So check out our good friends of the show, the task force, and Good Afternoons joint production, our good friends at Thomas McGee's. All right, Dennis, here we go. Week 4. I know we're both winners so far on the season, and we've got a nice 3-pack of games. When I sent you the games, for some reason you selected the ha-ha feature on the text. Were you laughing at the games I selected?
Well, the first thing I do is I was going to hit the thumbs up, but I hit it hard. And it wasn't like I'm telling you I love you or I love the games. I was just like, oops, I hit the heart. So then I hit the thumbs up, and then I thought I was just being funny, so then I hit the ha-ha. Yeah,
because it went from a thumbs up, thumbs down, ha-ha. It's great. We got some good games here, and I feel strongly about all 3 of these. Let's start, Dennis, with the Colts at the Bears. All right, not that Indy is this great team, but you see them getting better with Philip Little Rivers Band and Frank Reich, their coach. They seem to kind of have some synergy going. And obviously, the Bears, 3-0, 2 absurd comebacks, one against the Lions, one against the Collapso Falcons. But Dennis, have we ever seen a team in week 3 be 3-0 and bench their quarterback? I don't ever remember it happening.
No, but I think the Bears are frauds here. It's not
total frauds.
The G-Men, Lions, and Falcons. It's not like they're sitting out here. You're thinking that this is some fantastic football team. And on the other side, the Colts, though, they have the best offensive line in football. That's a small number here. I like the Colts. This is my play of the week. Give me Indy all day long. I'm all over the Colts here. And I think they'll have this one out of the way before halftime. You know, the one thing about Foles, you saw the great run that he had with the Eagles standing back.
Right.
He stands in the pocket to make that throw downfield, but that's why he ends up getting hurt so much. You even saw it last week against the Falcons, man, standing in there to the last possible second, and that rush comes up, hits him in the mouth. I wouldn't, it's just one of those things. That's a dangerous way to live. It's great, man, and he was able to parlay it into the Super Bowl, but when I watch Nick Foles, if I was a Bears fan, I'd be scared and thinking about that they might have to go back to Trubisky because of an injury there.
Now, much like Ryan Fitzpatrick, who actually was pretty good last week on Thursday Night Football.
Yeah, he was.
But Nick Foles is one of those guys that I think is great as a backup when he has to fill in. But when he's the guy, when he's the starter, which he is now, I mean, obviously Trubisky benched. Foles is starting. He's not coming in to, swoon the team. He's not that good. He's had a lot of issues, whether in Philly or other places. So I'm down on that. I think you're right. The Bears are total frauds. I think Matt Nagy's not going to be around that long because they're going to lose like 7 of their next 9 games. And the Colts are starting to get better. You mentioned the offensive line. How about the home improvement running back, Jonathan Taylor-Thomas? T.Y. Hilton get a little better and more synergy with Phillip Rivers all over the Colts. It was actually 3. It's now you don't need to buy the half point, the 3 and a 2 and a hook or 2 and a swizzle. It's down to 2.5. So give me the Colts. Before the next game we pick, Dennis, I've got to ask you about that fantastic picture over your left shoulder with, I believe, your daughter Faith. Is that like a mirror? What do we got going on there? And a dog. That is awesome.
Oh, that is a mirror from North Yorkshire. That is a beer that is called Tetley, which was my favorite. It was my favorite bitter beer over there.
My dad loves the bitter beers.
They gave that to me as a going away present, where you see Faith and my dog Louie, who's white German Shepherd. That's when he was a puppy. Somehow there was a picture of like fox hunting, and they had some horses in there, and that picture kind of fell off, and I was like, But then I just threw that one up there, and I put it up there, and it's been up there ever since.
I love it. All right, well, let's get to the Chiefs and Pats. I was all over that Chiefs team last week. They destroyed the Ravens. You got New England playing some really good football with Cam Newton, kind of a resurgence in his career. But the Chiefs, Dennis, off that blowout of the Ravens on Sunday Night Football, or Monday Night Football, excuse me, you look at them favored by 7 against the Patriots. I know that line scares some. I'll go first here. It doesn't scare me. I'm going against all the trends, all the Belichick numbers. It's the Chiefs at Arrowhead, minus a touchdown, which we know is a key number, 3-7 in the NFL. I don't care. Chiefs by double digits. I'll lay the 7 and take it to the bank.
Yeah, just I feel like I'm in a race car, and I'm just going to slam the gas pedal to the floor, man, and that's what it's like betting the Chiefs, man. I'm just going to keep putting my right foot and smashing it down to the floor. I don't care how many points I have to give up. Chiefs, Chiefs, Chiefs every week.
Love it. All right, and our final game of our Pick 3, the Fithian Leach NFL Pick Festival. What a game this is. Raiders start 2-0, 2-0 against the spread. They stumble against New England. This Bills team, though, undefeated. Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, they are scoring tons of points. They are laying 3 at the Raiders, at the Death Star. How do you feel about this one?
Well, if it wasn't, the Bills did get lucky on some calls there against the Rams last week, but Josh Allen is playing fantastic here. Singletary, they found a star running back in there as well, and Stephon Diggs looks great. I mean, they got a number 1. He's got that chemistry going with Josh Allen, and that defense is pretty good for the Bills as well. If the Colts wasn't my favorite play, the Bills would be. You add in that the Raiders, their 2 starting wideouts, the 2 rookies are out. And you only got Hunter Renfrew to worry about. And you know what? Bills got one of the best lockdown corners. I love the Bills in this game. I would be willing to, give up 6-7 points in this one. It's my second favorite game of the week, the one I feel the most confident in. Give me the Bills all day long. I know you're a big Raider guy, but
I am.
The Bills.
How many Tetley Bears would you weigh? I don't drink anymore, but how many Tetley Bears would you put on the Bills?
Oh, well, if 5 made you feel good, I would put 4.5, man. I feel really good about the Bills. I got a 5 on the Colts. I got a 4.5 on the Chiefs, and I got a 4.5 here, Tetley's on the Billies.
Well, I'm going to tell you here and tell you this. I am a big Raiders guy. I think the Raiders, before the season, you and I talked about it on one of our shows and said, I think that the Raiders team's undervalued and could have a chance to be a contender in the AFC. I liked the first 2 weeks. I didn't like what they did on the road in New England, but that was Cam Newton, a good New England team. I'll say this, and you mentioned, there are a bunch of injuries for the Oakland Raiders when it comes to kind of depth with the secondary. You look at, and wide receiver as well. I love Josh Jacobs. I like Derek Carr. I wanted to make a case for the Raiders. The Bills are just too good. I don't love the 3 because I feel like you come down to a field goal, but I'm not going to tell you to buy the half point. Lay the 3 and kind of to piggyback what you said, they're scoring tons of points. Josh Allen can rush for 100 and throw for 300, and their defense is playing well. I think the Bills are going to win this one, and not, I don't want to say easily, but maybe going away towards the end. It'll be tight for 3 quarters and maybe a 7 to 14 point win for the Buffalo Bills because of Josh Allen's legs and Josh Allen's arm. So we'll see what happens, but I'm with you on the Bills. I don't like it as much as you do because I really like that Raiders team, especially getting 3 at home, a home dog, but I think the Bills are just too good. All right, so we both are on the Colts -2.5. We both love it. We're on the same teams this week. We're going to both go 3-0. We both love the Chiefs -7 and the Bills -3 at the Raiders at the Death Star. That's how you do a Fithian Leach NFL Pick Festival. All right, Fith, let's talk fantasy football. We both love it, whether it's daily or the season variety. What are your fantasy football week 4 thoughts now that we're a quarter of the way through the season?
Well, it's been a wild ride here, man. Looking at how Josh Allen is performed here, you've got part of that Ravens backfield. You don't want any of it. I kept Lamar Jackson in a keeper league, and he's not the MVP like all the experts were saying. The sharps like, don't keep a guy like Lamar Jackson. Go with a Dak Prescott or a Josh Allen or something like that. They were right. Lamar has not been getting it done, but I'll just say I played the first 2 weeks. I got smoked in DFS, the daily fantasy. I only played the 1 o'clock slate. So you got 7, 8, sometimes 9 games, but you got 7 games, and I play, anywhere from 3 to 5. And the Bengals Eagles game goes into overtime, ends up being a tie. Yeah. And it's just where there's like 3 or 4 of us like locked in by like 1 point is going back and forth all the way to the end. That was the most entertaining, boring game that I've ever been part of. It just speaks to the steam and the excitement that you could manufacture by having something on the game, man. I was watching it like it was the Super Bowl, and I ended up prevailing. That's my thought, man. Put a little money on a game, and it's like watching the Super Bowl.
Well, I had mixed in fantasy reasons for season long, but I also had money on the Eagles live and for the game, and I pushed them both. I had the money line in a parlay, and I took them live even money, and it didn't matter. Actually, I took them live plus like 130 because they were losing. I think it was when they were down by a touchdown. And it was a kissing your sister game. But I'll tell you this when it comes to fantasy. And yes, I'm being subjective because I've got the guy. But Dennis, you keep me in check if you think I'm being crazy here. Patrick Mahomes is the greatest fantasy quarterback ever. I understand he's still young. There's still years ahead of him. I know he had kind of a decent week 1 and a subpar week 2 points-wise. The guy got me 40 points in a standard, not half PPR league last week. If you've got Patrick Mahomes, it's like having 2 good running backs, 2 good wide receivers, and I think that there's people that thought that you mentioned the sharps. Don't draft Patty Mahomes too high. I got him at 10 in a 12-team league. That guy to me, Fifth, is just another world player, and I think that his average this year will be the best average for any quarterback and most running backs and wide receivers as far as points go.
Yeah, well, you look at what he did 2 years ago when he threw the 50-plus touchdowns, and then they said that he couldn't back that up. And for the first couple weeks, it was like, yeah, they're right. Maybe that was the same thing with Lamar. He's in his own tier. Like you got Mahomes, and then you got all of the other guys. So I'm with you on that, man. And his ability to run the ball, like he could just sit back there and be the greatest thrower of all time. But his ability to move out of the pocket and take off himself. And then the cast of characters he has around, the weapons that he has.
Incredible.
It's something special what he's got going on there. And Andy Reid's a great play caller, along with Bieniemy, who could be the next Lions head coach.
You got that right. Not Kellen Moore, by the way. Don't believe those rumors. The guy's never coached before. Either is Bieniemy. He's been a long-time offensive coordinator. I'll also say this as far as season-long fantasy goes. By the way, the champ, I Am the Jew, opens 0-3, but I feel good about this week. But how about this? People, I don't know if your leagues do this, Dennis. They have the fab budget. You get $200 for the year or $3, whatever it is. People are spending their money in my various leagues and some of my friends' leagues at a rate that I've never seen before. One guy spent all his money 2 weeks ago on Mike Thomas after Christian McCaffrey got hurt. Another guy spent like 180 of his 200 on Justin Jefferson, who might be a great young rookie for the Vikes for on LSU. But don't spend all your money in the first 3 weeks of the season because it's going to screw you later on. What is up with the fab money, Dennis? I've seen that be a crazy thing when it comes to early, at least in leagues that I'm involved in personally, and a lot of people that message me saying, people are spending absurd amounts of money. You got to budget that, man. It's like you can't spend all your food money in the first week of the month. You got to let it, kind of grow till the end of the month, my friend.
Yeah, well, I would have splurged on Jefferson myself. I liked him out of LSU. Just didn't know it. It's hard sometimes when you just don't know what the usage is going to be. And then when he blows up like a game last week, you know what he can do out on the field. I mean, watching him at LSU, Joe Burrow, like rightfully so, he got all the plaudits and the Heisman and everything else. But Jefferson, man, they had a lot of great wide receivers. He was the best out of all of them, man.
Incredible.
I would have splurged a little bit. The thing about Fab for my league for the last 3-4 years, I've tried to introduce it and say it's more fun. It makes Mondays and Tuesdays great. It's everything that you want. It makes fantasy football better. Everybody always thumbs it down. They were going to put it in the 1 year, so. I don't know. These guys have been in a fantasy league for him for 25 years. They think I'm like, throwing something in that's going to screw them and it's going to give me.
You're just living with the tides. You're living in the modern era.
Well, the thing about them is that I usually jump out. I'm usually, up at the top of the standings. I started 2-0. So, the way they do it is the team with the lowest points and the worst record, they get the advantage of being able to pick guys up. So they think that, oh yeah, I'm just going to be grabbing all the players and everything. They don't understand how it works, but everybody's got a fair shot at doing it. So it's too bad. Fab's fun, but I hear what you're saying. It's all fun until these guys don't come up and then late in the year, there's just you got to have it late in the season.
Yep, you have to.
People can just snatch up players from you and it ends up hurting you.
Yep, there are people in my league that literally could have gone a round or two or maybe even won the league last year in the playoffs, but had no money left and really playoffs really screwed themselves over.
Good, I got Deontay Johnson, Shark, AJ Brown, Chris Carson. Hopkins is going to be a game time decision. Like it's amazing. I just start looking at my roster here.
Do you know Deontay?
Everybody gets hit with injuries, but man, I'm getting hit all day long now.
So I thought I made the right start with Johnson last week instead of T.Y. Hilton. I put Johnson in. He doesn't play more than a quarter. If Johnson had played and had, let's say 7 points, I win. Mahomes had 40, so I was down 30-something or 38 coming in. I can't remember what it was coming into the game. He had Ingram got a few points. I lost by 4. Dennis, we also, as we know, love daily fantasy. We always give you low-price stunners. They've been looking good for us all season. They'll continue to do that, I'm sure. Let's start with your low-price starter. I got to tell you, I really like this one.
Well, you remember, I just do the 1 o'clock games, and I do that because you play the 4, and then you play Sunday night. You're always looking in the 10-teamers that I play. There's always going to be 3 or 4 people, and they just it seems like that they're sitting on you, and they already are playing the algorithms and everything else against you, and they get to pick against you. But when you're going against a 4 o'clock game and a Sunday night game, they can switch. I have the feeling that they can switch their players around, to really get you. And so it just makes me feel like when it's 1 o'clock and I'm playing against this week 5 different or 4 different opponents, I can look at all their teams right there. I know what I'm dealing with right off the bat. There's nobody hiding anything, throwing any switcheroos in the 4 o'clock or the Sunday night game. That's why I do it. So you see him right there, the rookie out of Clemson. It's the rookie connection there with Burrow and T. Higgins. I hate to say it because AJ Green, I had him on my fantasy league or my keeper league for 6-7 years. He's a class act, but he looks like he's washed. So I'm thinking that Higgins, he had the connection last week. I'm going to continue that, and he's really low price. So I'm hoping Higgins blows up. And that would be 2 weeks in a row that I'd be cashing in.
Hey, you like to cash and you do it often. And Higgins, I checked DraftKings, he's well under $5,000. So that is definitely a low price stunner. I'm going to go with the guy that I've liked for a long time, but I'm really going to go with him now and give it to you. Is DJ Moore. He's only at $5,000. Had a huge week last week against the Bucs. And I'll tell you this, it's one of these things that I think this Cardinals defense, Dennis, is not as good as people think it is. I think DJ Moore at $5,100 or so has a huge week. I'll also give you one bonus one, and I've talked about this guy before. Bonus action for you. Joshua Kelly, Chargers. He's only $4,700 right now. I'm not sure he's on FanDuel, but he's really close to that. I know there's numbers on DraftKings. I like both these guys. I think DJ Moore against that Cardinals secondary has a big day. I think Teddy Bridgewater's doing a fine job finding him, as you can see right there. And I think I like DJ Moore, my friend. I think he's going to have a big week in this situation, as I mentioned. I think Joshua Kelly's just going to get better and better, Dennis, as it goes for the Chargers. They've got Eckler. Eckler's great. But Kelly, it's not like a 1A, 1B. It's really becoming a 1A, 1A, dash 2, which I love. That's what you want when you're a daily fantasy owner or a season-long owner.
I like the Moore pick. You know what? Bridgewater's finding him. He's a target machine. He's kind of an underrated wide receiver when you stack him up with the other ones across the league. The thing, I hope you're right about Kelly because I have him on my fantasy bench. I just don't like the matchup against the Bucs with Vita Vea, that front seven that Tampa has. It scares me. So I'm scared away from Kelly this week. But hopefully what you're talking about, the rookie from UCLA, does end up blowing up because, it would help me.
I wanted to help you. By the way, those highlights, I'm sorry, that was from the week 1 game at Tampa Bay. The Panthers last week played the Chargers, but that's two of the teams with both those guys, Kelly and DJ Moore. Dennis, always an honor, my friend. Always love being with you. Any big weekend plans? Are you going to play with the goats? Maybe have some summer sauces? What do we got going on?
Yeah, I am going to hang out with the goats right now. I'm going to go sit out there, and my wife and kids are going to a camp this weekend. So it's just me. So I'm going to be watching college football from noon to 10 tomorrow, and then 1 to midnight on Sunday. I just try to make it through, and some NBA finals on Sunday night. But I'm also thinking about sending an email to the Squatch to challenge him. Like if you go 0-5 in fantasy or something, maybe you'd have to stand out on outside of Ford Field saying, honk if you want Patricia fired or something.
I love it.
I'm thinking about one of those challenges. Good. Congratulations on the show on your first one.
Thank you, Squatch and Friends premiere last night. You'll be on it very soon. And let's FaceTime over the weekend, watch the football. I love you, my friend.
Hey, love you too. See you later, bud.
That's it. Dennis Fithian. I'm Dan Leach. This is the Task Force, and good afternoon's joint production of Football Friday. We'll see you next Friday. Until then, wash your hands, spread love, not hate, and believe in the dream.